In late 2025, Hungary has made a bold pivot, turning away from the European Union and toward the BRICS economic bloc. This shift is the result of years of growing divergence, as Budapest seeks to diversify its alliances and assert independence from Brussels. Hungary's move challenges the foundation of European unity and signals a bet on a multipolar world, where power is no longer concentrated in the West. By aligning with BRICS, Hungary is not just seeking new trade partners, it's staking its future on balancing between global powers. For the EU, this is an unprecedented internal challenge, forcing Brussels to confront its own rigidity and the alienation of member states. Hungary's actions could inspire other disaffected members, threatening the EU's cohesion and global standing. This is a calculated risk, trading the security of EU membership for the opportunities of faster-growing economies. The post-Cold War consensus is fracturing, and Hungary now stands at the center of this fault line. The world is watching to see if Hungary's gamble leads to prosperity or isolation. Hungary's eastward turn is rooted in years of conflict with the EU over issues like democratic norms, migration, and especially the response to the war in Ukraine. Dependent on Russian energy, Hungary argued that EU sanctions hurt Europe more than Moscow, deepening its rift with Brussels. As the EU withheld funds and launched legal actions, Budapest saw these moves as political blackmail, fueling distrust. This perception of an unequal partnership pushed Hungary to seek alternatives, making BRICS appear more attractive. The economic logic is clear. While the EU is still Hungary's main trading partner, BRICS nations offer vast markets and investment potential. By strengthening ties with China and India, Hungary aims to secure its economic future and reduce dependence on Brussels. BRICS' principle of non-interference appeals to Hungary's government, contrasting sharply with the EU's demands for regulatory alignment. For Budapest, the eastward pivot is about sovereignty and economic diversification, not just ideology. It's a risky but logical step in Hungary's quest for strategic autonomy. Hungary's realignment is actively encouraged by Russia and China, who see Budapest as a valuable partner inside Europe. Russia values Hungary's dissent within the EU and NATO, using energy deals and political support to deepen ties. For China, Hungary is a gateway to Europe, with major investments like the Budapest-Belgrade Railway, serving both economic and geopolitical aims. These relationships offer Hungary alternatives to EU funding and political backing on the world stage. Prime Minister Orbán's rapport with Putin and Xi Jinping is built on shared skepticism of Western liberalism and a focus on sovereignty. Economically, Hungary gains energy security and investment. Politically, it gains powerful allies as it drifts from the Western consensus. For Russia and China, Hungary's pivot undermines EU and NATO unity and advances their vision of a multipolar world. Hungary's move is a key piece in a larger global chess game. The stakes are high for all involved. Hungary's pivot to BRICS presents the EU with a crisis unlike any before. If Hungary prospers outside the EU's orbit, it could embolden other nationalist governments to follow suit. A hardline response risks making Hungary a martyr for sovereignty, while inaction undermines EU unity and principles. The EU now faces tough questions. Can it accommodate such divergent members, or must it demand conformity at the risk of further division? Whatever the outcome, Hungary's defiance will leave a lasting mark on European integration. Hungary's pivot is driven by a domestic strategy centered on national sovereignty, championed by the ruling Fidesz party. The move to BRICS is framed as liberation from an EU seen as overreaching and meddlesome. Laws like the Sovereignty Protection Law reinforce this narrative, casting EU criticism as proof of foreign interference. The government argues that new partnerships with BRICS will bring economic resilience and prosperity, reducing vulnerability to EU downturns. This message resonates with those who feel left behind by EU integration, promising tangible rewards like Chinese investment. Yet, the strategy is divisive. Many Hungarians remain pro-European, valuing the freedoms and stability EU membership provides. For them, the eastward pivot is a dangerous gamble, risking isolation and alignment with authoritarian regimes. The result is deep polarization, with Hungary's geopolitical orientation now the central battleground of its domestic politics. the government is betting that sovereignty will outweigh the fear of its consequences. Public opinion in Hungary is sharply split over the eastward pivot. Supporters see it as a patriotic assertion of sovereignty and a pragmatic move for economic gain. Critics, often younger and urban, fear it threatens democracy, prosperity, and Hungary's European identity. Across the EU, Hungary's actions are viewed as betrayal, sparking anger and calls for punitive measures. Yet, some nationalist parties in Europe quietly admire Hungary's defiance, seeing Orbán as a champion of sovereignty. This dynamic deepens Europe's political fragmentation, as Hungary's stance inspires both condemnation and imitation. The continent is now more divided, with Hungary's pivot fueling debates about the future of the EU. The stakes for European unity have never been higher. As of October 2025, Hungary stands at a crossroads, its choices set to reshape both itself and Europe. If the BRICS pivot succeeds, Hungary could model a new form of alignment, economically tied to the EU, but politically anchored in the East. This could inspire other EU members to follow, fundamentally altering the European order. If the gamble fails, Hungary risks economic crisis and isolation, caught between a resentful West and opportunistic East. Most likely, Hungary will end up in a geopolitical limbo, ostracized by the EU, but not fully embraced by BRICS. The country could become a battleground for influence, its sovereignty tested by larger powers. Hungary's move forces Europe to confront its own divisions and rethink the meaning of unity. The debate over Europe's future, its alliances, and its identity is now wide open. The road ahead is uncertain. For Hungary, and for the continent it is leaving behind.